Hello and welcome to 7-10 Applying Percents. Now today we're going to be talking more about, if I go to the store and there's a sale of 25% off, like the picture I found from Target, up to 25% off, bed and bath, sheets starting at $9, towels starting at $4, up to 20% off of outdoor living. So it's really helpful to know how to find, well, how much is it going to cost, especially if you're using a budget and you only have so much money. You need to know how much you're going to be spending. So this is a very helpful everyday type of lesson. If you go out to eat, how much of a tip do you have to leave? So that's the three things we're talking about today. Discounts, so that would be this. Tips, you're going to a restaurant, you had a really good waitress and you want to give them a really good tip of 25%. Then how much do you leave? And sales tax. We all know when we go to buy some candy at the store, it doesn't actually cost $1, it costs $1.07. So how do we find out what would the total cost be and figure out how much money we're actually going to spend? So let's get started. So this is something very important. Everybody needs to come with this written in their notes. I will read through it and then we will utilize this in every single problem. So really, that's why it needs to be in your notes. You're going to use it for every problem you do in your assignment. So here we go. A discount is an amount that is subtracted from the regular price of an item. So to find the discount, we need to multiply the price and the discount rate. And then to figure out how much it's actually going to cost after you do the discount, you need to subtract the discount from the price. So for example, we need to find what is 25% of $75. And then we need to subtract that from $75 to figure out how much we're actually going to pay. We will practice all of these. So this is just kind of a formula page. You need to make sure you get them down so you know what the formulas would be. A tip is an amount added to a bill for service. So to find that, you need to multiply your bill and your tip rates. Your rate is like a 6% rate. If you want to give, for tips, you should give about 10, 15, 20%, somewhere in there. And then you add that to your bill because we're adding on a tip. Sales tax is an amount that is added. So tip and sales tax are very similar. Actually, they're exactly the same. Because we're just multiplying your price and your sales tax rate, multiply them together, and then add the price and the sales tax. Because again, if the sign says it's going to cost $1, really you have to add on the tax, so it's going to cost you $1.07. So our tip and our sales tax, basically the same thing. And discount, we just have to remember we're subtracting that from the regular price because it's a discount. We don't have to pay that money. So let's practice. We're going to practice one problem from each. A music store sign reads 10% off the regular price. If Nicole wants to buy a CD whose regular price is $14.99, how much will she pay for her CD at the discount? Now it says about. That means we don't have to keep dividing if our decimal is going to go on forever. We know money has two digits to the right of the decimal point, so we don't have to go on much further than that. I'd do maybe 3 to see if you should round that last one up, but we should be good. So if I look back at my formula to find a discount, it says discount equals price times discount rate. So I'll write that down. Okay, I wrote these down just to help myself out. So I know the price of the CD is $14. So I'm going to do capital D equals $14.99. That's the price of my CD times my discount rate, and my discount rate is 10%. Now when I'm multiplying, I can't multiply a percent. My first step is I need to change my percent into a decimal. I don't know, can we remember that? If you don't, write decimal in front. Okay, so we do know how to multiply decimals, so let's do that. 10% written as a decimal I just have to move my decimal point 2 places to the left, and I would get my decimal as 0.10 and 1/10 to be correct. So now I need to multiply these two numbers together. I will do this longhand because I feel like I'm going to get some kids that say, well, how do you multiply decimals? We've multiplied decimals lots, but let's practice it again. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, so now the question is, how many decimal points do I bring that back? I have 2 numbers up here and 1 number right here, so I have to bring it back 3, 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So my discount is going to equal $1.49. We're going to keep that there for now because it's going to help us be more accurate later. If I cut it off, then we'd be a couple cents off. So if I just keep it, that's okay. So now I need to just take my price minus my discount. So my total cost equals my price, $14.99, minus my discount, 1 499 thousandths. So if I subtract that, remember we need to line up decimal points. So I would go here, this would be an 8, this would be a 10. So I get 1, 9, 8 minus 4 is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3, 13, 49. So my total cost is going to be $13.49. Make sure you get that dollar sign in there because we are doing a word problem. So after I get my discount of 10%, my total cost is going to be $13.49. And let's go to the next one. Now, again, write this in your notebook. Here are some helpful tips that we could have used on a previous problem. We had to find 10% of a number, and we could have moved our decimal point 1 place to the left, but we didn't know that yet. We hadn't gotten to this sign. So if you forget these, that's okay. But they are going to help you out a lot. If you want to find 1% of a number, move that decimal point 2 places to the left. If you want to find 5% of a number, you just find 10% of it, and then you half it. So if I wanted to find 5% of 30, let's say. So first I'd find 10%, so I move that decimal point 1 place to the right, so I'd get 3. So then I'd ask myself, well, what's half of 3? 1.5. So if my bill was 30 and I wanted to give a 5% tip, that'd be very low, then I would give $1.50 of my tip. Or if I was spending $30, if I was 5% off, I'd save $1.50. So those are just a few tips, and I use these all the time when I'm trying to figure out how much to tip at a restaurant and that sort of thing. It's really helpful. So please write this in your notebook. Little tips to help yourself out, and let's go on to the next problem. All right, so now let's try a problem on tips. So Leslie's lunch bill is $13.95. She wants to leave a tip that is 15% of the bill. About how much should her tip be? Okay, so we've got a few things going on here. The about, again, we do have that. And I didn't do this on the previous one. The previous one, we found exactly how much the entire bill would be. But what they're actually looking for on this is they're trying to say, well, we think you should round this $13.95 to $14. So I figured it'd be okay to leave it because then it gives you an example of how to solve it exact if you were to be given a problem like that, and then how to solve the about. So the $13.95 should be rounded to $14, and then we want to leave a 15% tip. So if we go back to our formula that we need to follow, tip equals bill times tip rate. So I just wrote that down to help us out. And the first time I solved this, you guys, I figured out how much would her total bill be. But that is not what the question is asking. So now I'm having to re-record about how much should her tip be. So if we want to find the tip, we only have one formula that we need to follow. We don't have two, like normal. So if I would just type or multiply my bill rate, which is $14, by my tip rate, and then I need to convert that into a decimal. So I need to move my decimal to the left 2 spots. So I would multiply that by 1500ths. So if I multiply 14 by 1500ths, it's very tempting to put all those zeros in, but in this case, when the zeros don't really mean anything, it's a lot easier to multiply without the zeros. So first I would multiply 5 by 4, and I would get a 20. Then I would multiply 5 by 1, and I would get 5. Add 2 more onto that, I'd get 7. Then, and I added my 0 down here again as kind of my placeholder, because before we were multiplying by 1s, and now we're multiplying our 10s place. So I have to have the 0 down here to keep everything where it's supposed to be. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Now if I add these numbers together, I would get 210. So my tip is going to equal 210. Wait a minute, $210 on a $14 bill? I don't think so. That is because I forgot to move my decimal point back 2 spots. So my tip should really be $2.10. And again, the formula that we wrote down before tells us how to find out the total cost, but this question does not ask us to find total cost. We only have to find the tip, so we're already done. Okay, now let's try to do a sales tax. We all know about sales tax. We go to try to buy something that's $4.99 and we have $5. Bring it up to the cash register and we don't have enough money. So here Mark is trying to buy a scooter, and his scooter is going to cost $70.65. The sales tax rate is 6%. About how much will the total cost? Now here we're doing total cost. We're not trying to figure out how much the tax is. We're doing that total cost. What should the total cost of the scooter be? So first let's write down our formula to help remember what that is. Okay, so we have our 2 formulas that we'll need to use written down. Our first step is going to be, we have that about again, so we're going to round our $70.65 just down to $70. Or say our price is about that much. And I need to multiply it by the sales tax rate, 6%. I need to turn that into a decimal, so I'd have to move it back 2 spaces to the left. So my decimal would be 0 and 600ths. And I'd have to multiply those together. So I would multiply 70 by 600ths. That'd be a 0. That'd be a 42. I know I'm going to get 0, 0, so I can just end it off there. I do have 2 digits to the right of the decimal point, so I need to bring that back twice. So I'm looking at my sales tax is going to be $4.20. So if I'm wondering about how much it will cost, I mean, I could add it on to the $70.65, really, but all I'm needing to do here then is just add it on to the $70. So I do, my total cost is going to equal my price, $70, plus my sales tax is $4.20. So my total cost is going to be $74.20 for my new scooter. About. Now again, you really should round up when you're talking money, but in this case we would round down, easier to round to 70. Could have rounded to 71, I suppose, too, but that'll give us a ballpark of where we will be, and that's kind of the point of all this. So that's all the problems. That is all the problems I have for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Oh, one more thing. I thought this cartoon was pretty funny. That was from your book. Hope you enjoy it.